everybody, welcome back to the CPS Reports, and I'm doing another fight recap of the one fight night 21 Eersel versus Nicolas that took place this weekend on Prime Video. And this was another surprising card, or another amazing card, which had somewhat surprising results and somewhat not so surprising results. But let me kick it off with the main event that took place. Regian Eersel took his first loss in 22 fights against Alexis Nicolas. Now, what is interesting about this fight is that I remember building up the fight whereby I was explaining that Alexis Nicolas, myself, I didn't really see much about the guy in the one championship, although he had also a 20-odd fight win streak in France. Coming into this fight, I thought maybe he's not gonna be able to do much against Regian. I think Regian might have a bit of a too much of a pedigree for him. You know, being the fighter that he is and being such a dominant fighter in the one championship for so long. I think it's like 8 years since he lost the fight. It's pretty big line. He was fighting very consistently. I will say between 2021 to 2023, he hasn't been that consistent. I think he had like somewhere around 1 or 2 fights a year, which is like what you get for champions, but like good, not really good. I take it back. So it's not really true, but very like world-renowned, fantastic champions would fight maybe 3 to 4 fights a year instead of 1 or 2. So I was thinking coming into this fight, perhaps because Regian has only fought once in the last 2 years or twice in the last 2 years, there may be a bit of ring rust coming to this fight. And I didn't know how often Alexis was fighting prior to this fight, but I can reflect back on the fight itself. It's pretty close. I can see why they gave it to Alexis. I can understand why they gave it to him. He did land a knockdown. He had the more damaging blows, which wasn't that prominent, like in terms of how often he was landing them. But when he did land them, it was quite significant. It did kind of turn the fight in a way where it kind of forced Regian to fight a different way. And normally when you watch Regian fight, he's very dominant. He's always one that's pushing the pace. He's always consistently keeping his opponents their backs to the ropes. And then he always just lands like really creative and elusive strikes that kind of gets people knocked out. You know, jumping knees into like a punch, straight into a hook. And he loves those kind of combos, and he flows it. And he was landing a lot of it in this fight, and then he was containing a lot of Alexis' movement. But he didn't have Alexis in any sort of danger for the 5 rounds. And then you ask yourself which fighter was closest to being stopped, or who was the most in danger. You would argue that Regian Eersel was the one that was closest to almost being finished. So for that, maybe that's why they probably gave it to Alexis Nicolas. But the fight was fairly close, apart from the knockdown in the round. I think it was round 1 or round 2 when the knockdown happened. But for the remainder of the fight, it was pretty even. Pardon me. I think when the fight is that close, and you can't really determine which fighter took the lead, we have to go back to what were the most significant things that took place in the fight. And I think Alexis Nicolas, his knockdown and his significant blows that he did land was significant. It was a bit more than what Regian was having to offer in the fight. So he took his first loss. The immortal is not immortal no longer. He took his loss, unfortunately. But he didn't get knocked out, nor did he take any like severe damage. So that means that he could potentially, I think he deserves a rematch considering what he's done for the one championship. And for his own career, being double sport champion simultaneously, by the way. And I think he does put himself in the position where he can demand an immediate rematch. So I think that's probably going to be the next fight for these two fighters. They're going to have to fight each other again. What does Regian do different going into this fight? Maybe don't underestimate the fighter, because a part of it did feel like that was the case. Especially like when I look back at some of Regian's fights, when he does face some kind of adversity, you can see in his face, it's like he realized, okay, I was underestimating this guy. So especially when he got knocked down in this fight, he like kind of shook his head. He was like, okay, you got me. Let's go. I'm going to show you now. Which is cool. It's a mind thing to keep himself obviously on top of his game, but he also shouldn't discredit what the other opponent is doing, because he could have potentially got knocked down again, and or even knocked out. Although he obviously did very, very well to not get those things happen to him over the course of the 5 rounds. He was quite good in evading a lot of Nicolas shots. But anyway, in all, I think the winner was deserving. I think Alexis did deserve to get that title shot, that title victory, and I do think that these guys have to run it back and go again so they can be a significant winner and not have it this close. But I mean, when you're at this type of the heat of your division, fights are going to be that close unless it's kind of a mismatch, which I thought was going to be in this case. All man's up, and so I thought it was going to be a mismatch. But I think that's because of the lack of knowledge of Alexis Nicolas. So anyway, next week, Alexis Nicolas, fantastic a win for you. And then I think for your first title defense, you got to defend against the guy who you took it from, Regian, the immortal Eersel. But I want to take it down the list and continue moving to another title fight that took place between Ruotolo and Izaak Michell for the welterweight submission grappling world championship bout. I'm laughing because this is what I thought was gonna happen. This is just the thing, like I've been saying. The Ruotolo brothers are just so phenomenal in terms of their grappling prowess. They, again, like I say, second to none in the one championship division, in the one championship organization. These guys have set themselves so far ahead of everyone else. It's unreal. The one championship has got, they're having to fetch jiu-jitsu champions from outside of the organization to come and compete against these guys, and then they look like they're so light years ahead of everybody. The total does because they're so far ahead of everyone. That's mad. And also, I think they both landed the same submission in this fight. I'm not sure what you call it, but it's like a hybrid between like an arm triangle meets rear naked choke. It's like, I don't know how they got it right. I need to rewatch the tape more than once. I can see what they did and how they got it right. But they landed it, and you could see the opponent was in a world of discomfort. And just a phenomenal display and a good victory for Ty, and for himself in the future. The thing that I want to touch base on here that I find quite interesting now is that I wonder what Ty's going to do next. Because we know after Kade's fight, he made an announcement of that he's potentially going to be doing MMA, or there's a very high potential chance that he's going to be doing MMA. What's up? What's next for Ty? Because I was saying that I think these guys should actually compete against each other. If they're not going to move on to other disciplines, they're probably going to have to compete against each other, because I don't see anyone beating them other than themselves, other than one or the other beating each other. So that would have to be the next fight. I know there's a little bit of weight discrepancy, but they can grapple with each other. One's welterweight, one's lightweight. One competes middleweight, the other competes between lightweight and welterweight. So they're relatively in the same weight class. They can kind of do it if they need to. And it would be an amazing money fight. It would sell for a spectacle. Unlucky for Izaak, this is what happens. And I can't say much about the guy other than big ups for taking the fight. It's a title shot. You wouldn't want to deny it, but it's up against a menace in Ruotolo. And if you haven't caught it, again, go check it out on the One Championship their homepage, onefc.com. You will notice, you can have a look at the fight. You will see what I mean. Like, it's difficult to put it into words because it's so mesmerizing to witness, to see how beautiful these guys make the game of jiu-jitsu look. Not that it's not beautiful, it's like they're able to make it look like real life turned into a video game, for lack of a better analogy. They're just making it look so slick and elusive and smart and clean, and there's like no struggle. It's like everything they're thinking of doing, everything they're trying to do, it's like they're gonna get it right all the time. It's amazing to witness. So I don't know who should be the next person to fight Ty. Maybe you should also switch disciplines and maybe take up a different sport. But if he's gonna continue doing this, continue doing jiu-jitsu, I don't know who's gonna be the person that's gonna beat him other than Kade. That's just where my thoughts are. Let me know what you guys think. But that's just again fantastic performance from Ty Ruotolo. And then we'll move down the list to another fight that took place, which was also a very, very good fight. Suablack took on Vladimir Kuzmin. Suablack doing Suablack things, the guy with the three trunk kind of legs, just kicking people from the stomach into a next dimension. Didn't land any knockout. He won by an unanimous decision, but deservedly so. Even though that Vladimir was the one that was kind of pushing the pace, and he had Suablack on the back foot. Suablack did fight like a phenomenal fighter on the back foot. I think a lot of these Thai guys are trained so well to fight by going backwards. And when you think you got them going backwards and you dominate in the fight, it just takes them a moment to land some kind of elbow or some kind of knee or some kind of high kick, and then you land on the floor. You're on the canvas and you're done. Although that didn't happen in this case, pretty much every time Suablack landed, he had left some kind of welt on Vladimir's rib cage, like purple. His legs were basically being chopped off. He would time his left, Suablack timed his left step back, left punch, so often that it was one of the things that was landing a lot in the fight and kept him above. So when I looked at Vladimir, every time he came forward, he used a lot of his deep kicks to close the distance, and then basically got Suablack in either a corner or against the ropes. And that's when he will come in and start throwing his boxing combinations, which is what it's his bread and butter. But what I found amazing about Suablack was his ability to evade all those boxing strikes. His head movement was very rare for me to see coming from a Muay Thai fighter, because I've always pointed it out in the past, the Muay Thai fighters don't generally have a good boxing defense. But the offensive game is obviously just, the combinations is so beautiful to witness. But in this fight, Suablack's boxing defense and his ability to evade shots were just beautiful to witness. And I think that ultimately landed in the victory, because he was able to avoid the strikes coming from Vladimir and was able to land a lot of these strikes, which ultimately got him the victory. And that was just a fantastic way for him to cement himself in that division. And then we can moving down the list. Jacob Smith that took on Denis Puric. Don't really want to talk about the fight too much. I felt it was a bit disgusting to witness. Jacob Murphy with the shenanigans and doing those kind of things. Some people call it gamesmanship. Some people say it's against the rules. I don't know where his head was at, but I don't think that he fought a good fight. I thought he was going to win, but I don't think he fought a good fight. I think he was prepared for what Denis was bringing into him, and Denis was a deserved winner. Good boxing combinations in the game. Stayed in the pocket. Jacob Smith tried to apply a lot of pressure, but he was missed a lot of his strikes, and I think for that, Denis was deservedly the winner, because he was the cleaner striker, landed more of his shots, didn't take any damage, and he just set himself apart really, and I think that's well deserved. Good job. Jacob Smith needs to go and get himself sorted out and not do kind of things like that, man. That's not what you want to see. You want to see in the cage. That's just, yeah, doesn't fly by me. So I don't want to spend too much time on him. Then I want to talk about Kade Ruotolo. Just like I was saying with Tai, second to none, landed the same submission, controlled his opponent. Francisco unfortunately took the loss. Another guy coming in with big accolades, but just coming up against a beast in Kade. I think Kade now wants to move to MMA. That's going to be interesting, because now I wonder what is going to be his stand-up base. We know what his ground base is. I mean, it's jiu-jitsu, he's the champion. But what is he going to pair it up with? Is it going to be traditional boxing? Is it going to be kickboxing? Is it going to be Muay Thai? What is it going to be Kade's stand-up base? Let me know what you guys think in the comments, because I do think it sounds that he's going to fulfill this path. He's going to take it on. Because I personally think it's going to be the best decision for his career going forward. If not that, I repeat, he's got to fight Tai, got to fight his brother. If he doesn't get to fight his brother, go on into MMA, and let's see what happens with him in that front. Wishing him all the best in his MMA career. And then I want to close off with a fight between Dedduanglek against Taiko Naito. I think this was a rematch. It was a rematch, and if I played out the way I thought it was going to play out, Taiko Naito doing what he does, deep kicks, boxing, deep kicks, boxing. That's pretty much what he does. He recycles those combinations the whole time. Whereas in Dedduanglek was doing what he does best, and that is, I personally think he was the most physically stronger fighter, and that showed why, because everything he landed on Naito had a bit of a worse for wear effect, like the deep kicks, the head kicks, the low kicks, the elbow strikes. When they got close into boxing exchanges, even though they both landed, Dedduanglek, he landed the more damaging shots, and I think that's why he won. Ultimately took the rematch and solidified the victory. But he's going to be one to watch for the future for sure. I tell you that now, he's definitely going to be the one to watch for the future. But anyway, that's my time, guys. It was a fantastic fight. Unlucky the Immortal, but these things happen. I'm sure you will be back. Let's see what happens with the Ruotolo twins, and see if their career takes another twist in the turn for them, but for the better, of course. And then we'll take it from there. But good display of fights all around, and it was a fantastic card for the One Championship. But on that note, guys, that is all the time that I have. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to stay in touch with all our latest content. Then help us get to our first 500 subscribers. On that note, stay blessed, stay humble, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.